what brought y'all here to San Antonio?
Oh gosh, that was funny. My mother, that's actually a really good question. We lost everything in Laredo. We were literally homeless. And it was during the first Bessa devaluation. We had a beautiful home that my mother and stepfather had built.
Did you do any college? Did you just straight out the gate? So I'm assuming you got your license when you were 18.
Yeah.
Did you further your education, or is it just like, hey, real estate is my thing?
I grew up around a lot of self-employed people.
Okay.
So for me, being self-employed
entrepreneur.
It's just in my blood. It's normal. I don't see barriers to entry or anything like that.
Right.
Yes, to answer your question, I did go to college. I think I had a 0.5 GPA.
So when we first started this business, we were also incredibly, and we're still incredibly Ryan Sirhan or Sirhan.
I love Ryan. Yeah.
So how was that experience?
It was awesome. So
because he's high energy.
Beyond high energy.
Yeah.
It's really weird. So he's like my real estate crush. I love his energy. I love his brand. I love how he presents himself. I love everything that he does.
Yeah.
It was weird. I was tired of being looked down upon as an agent, which that hasn't changed. Everyone, I don't want to say everyone, that's not the right word to use. Many people, they dislike what agents do. They dislike what we get paid. They think we don't do anything. It's the easiest job in the world. It's funny. I've never once commented on anyone's job to ever say, oh, that's an easy job. I don't know. I don't know your job. I don't know how to do your job. I don't know if it's hard, easy, simple, whatever. That's your job. I respect it. Go at it. The cool thing about it, though, is the community that each one of these locations creates, the community within itself.
Right.
So I'm lucky enough to be able to be part of one of the communities, even though I don't own a unit at that community. But these guys are always on WhatsApp. They're always, they're sharing jokes. They're sharing ideas. They're talking about drives. They're talking about events or anything like that.
What is your craziest transaction yet? Where you're just like, whoa, that's going to stick with me forever.
I have so many of them. It's not even funny. There's one story that I like to tell.
Okay.
And I'll name names because I just think it's funny. But when I worked, at the Dominion, of course you'd see celebrities. You'd meet of top tier business people and everything else. But we all know certain celebrities over the years have lived in the Dominion.
Yes.
And there was one in particular that I was helping at that time, and he was going through a divorce, and it was Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he's a big dude.
Dog.
He's a big dude, and he's a big dude back then.
Yeah.
Very intimidating.
I bet. Welcome to another episode of Home Sweet Home San Antonio. Thank you for joining us. We're super excited. I absolutely love and admire our guest today. We are interviewing Robert Elder. He's co-leader of the RoPax Group at Phyllis Browning Company. He's going to be talking to us a little bit about how he became a luxury agent in San Antonio, and he has closed over $560 million in closed sales. He's also going to be talking about redefining real estate in San Antonio by talking and diving more into his innovative project, Dream Garage Condos. It's a groundbreaking concept that's making waves through San Antonio. I'm really excited because we've yet to hear about this idea. So, Robert, hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great. Great.
Thank you for coming all this way and taking time out of your busy schedule to come here.
Thank you for having me.
Let us interview you. The moment that Gabriel and I heard about Dream Garage Condos, we were so enticed and kind of intrigued and want to learn more.
Yeah.
So let's dive into it. But first, I want you to introduce yourself. Okay. A lot of people may not know you or know about you, so kind of just take it away for a little bit.
No, thank you. So I'm a second generation agent. I actually grew up around the industry. My mother was a mega agent, back in the day. So I've been licensed 34 years now this year, so quite a long time. I always jokingly say I'm the dinosaur in the industry. Yeah. And I used to do my contracts on stone tablets. Yeah. But no, in all seriousness, I watched my mom in the business. I watched her conversations, how she would interact with people, how she would market, things like that. So I always say I had an absolutely unfair advantage when I decided to get into the business because I had so much quote unquote experience, watching her.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So but it's fun. I love this industry. Clearly, I've been in it for a heck of a long time, and there's always something new to learn, and there's always this evolution of our industry as well, which of course we're in right now.
Yep, pretty much. Hello, market.
Exactly.
So did you grow up in San Antonio? Were you born here? Kind of tell us a little about your upbringing.
No, I grew up in Laredo, Texas, literally on a dirt road in Laredo, Texas. I come from an unbelievably humble family, humble beginnings, but they were a hardworking family. Yeah. And I always had that image of work. This is what we do. I mean, long days, long hours, blah, blah, blah. I'd see my grandmother, and my grandmother was a bookkeeper for an auto dealership back in town. And then my grandfather had a small little car lot, which kind of started my love of automobiles as well. So we can talk about that later. But just, good, humble, hardworking people, and they were an amazing example, for me to implement that in my life as I got older.
So, what brought y'all here to San Antonio?
Oh gosh, that was funny. My mother. That's actually a really good question. We lost everything in Laredo. We were literally homeless, and it was during the first BESA devaluation. We had a beautiful home that my mother and stepfather had built. We had an office complex. We had 2 retail stores. I mean, life was good.
Yeah.
I went to a private school. I had the house where everyone would come over after school and hang out because I had like 4 pinball machines. I had a pool table. I had some video arcade games.
Yeah.
This was before PlayStation
you had, like,
and
Dave
everything.
And Buster's at your house.
I was like Dave and Buster's, exactly. I had a go-kart. I mean, life was good as a kid. And then the BESA devaluation hit, and it literally killed us.
Wow.
My mother and stepdad, they moved to San Antonio to basically restart their lives in a Nissan pickup truck that was scheduled to be repossessed. And my stepdad had to literally park it in a different spot every night so the repo man couldn't find it.
Tow it away.
Yeah, so they wouldn't tow it away. And they moved into the Sunflower Apartments, which is across, you know where that is?
Yes,
on Rector Street. Yeah, It ain't pretty.
It's not.
It ain't pretty.
It's not.
It's prettier these days. I happened to drive by the other day and I saw that they painted it. But yeah, I mean, they had no furniture. They slept on the floor for months, and they couldn't afford me. So I had to live with my grandparents for many years until my mom and stepdad could actually afford to have me there. And that eventually got me here to San Antonio because I'd just gotten my license in Laredo and I was practicing real estate down there. And then my mother called and said, hey, there's a position at the Dominion and you could be the backup agent to the backup agent. So I was literally the lowest person on the totem pole there at the Dominion.
Yeah.
But, I was young, hungry, and I wanted to prove something. And within a year and a half, I was outselling everyone in that development. Wow. And that's how I got into the real estate game.
Wow. And so kind of, did you do any college? Did you just straight out the gate? So I'm assuming you got your license when you were 18.
Yeah.
Did you further your education, or is it just like, hey, real estate is my thing?
I grew up around a lot of self-employed people.
Okay.
So for me, being self-employed
entrepreneur.
It's just in my blood. It's normal. I don't see barriers to entry or anything like that.
Right.
Yes, to answer your question, I did go to college. I think I had a 0.5 GPA. Really bad. And it's not because I was stupid or lazy.
Of course not.
It just didn't interest me.
Yeah.
It literally, school did not interest me. And
that.
when I applied myself, I did really, really well. But I always joke that I majored in registration and dropping classes.
It's kind of like when you're doing your SATs, like you get 150 points if you spell your name right. And you're like, woo!
That was me.
Nothing. School, it's not for everybody, especially
not.
These days, and especially with how expensive it is.
Right.
So kind of go into, so you started at that development in the Dominion, and the Dominion, if y'all don't know, y'all are listening, the Dominion is a luxury neighborhood.
Yeah.
And it was actually one of the first, if not,
it
it
was-
was the first luxury outside of Alamo Heights.
Yeah. I mean, from a country club perspective, it was,
Yeah.
Dominion started out, Dominion Sonterra, those are the two big names,
Mm-hmm.
but Dominion's always Dominion. And Dominion will always be Dominion.
Yes.
It's like the premier luxury neighborhood
Yes.
and lifestyle to live in.
So what made you kind of, once that, I guess, phase or that neighborhood was closed out, what did you do from there?
Well, it's still ongoing. We're still very busy in there. We've got several listings
Mm-hmm.
in that development, but I wanted to expand, even though I could sell at that time anywhere in San Antonio,
Yeah.
because I worked for that developer, Inco Dominion. People had a misconception that's all I could sell, and that was the furthest thing from the truth. So I decided, you know what, it's time. My mother and I, we were the mother and son real estate team at that time, and we market ourselves as such, and we were very, very successful in that in development. But we just decided we wanted to spread our wings, and we went to the Phyllis Browning Company after leaving Inco Dominion, and we were at Phyllis Browning Company for many, many years. During that time, I opened up another company. It was a company called Pit Stop Portable Restrooms. And that company, that's another story. But I mean, I built that from scratch to the largest porta potty company in town, and then we sold it to a big national firm, and stayed at Phyllis Browning for several years, and then ultimately made a move to Keller Williams for many years as well. So I wanted to basically expand from that footprint and sell in all of San Antonio.
Absolutely. So obviously a lot of people are married in real estate. You are also partnered with your wife, so your husband and wife team. Tell us a little bit about that. Not a lot of husband and wives in real estate can work together.
Yeah, no, there's a lot.
It's tough.
It's tough.
I love my husband, but it's tough.
You speak from experience
Yes.
too. So I've seen some amazing partnerships, and I've seen some absolutely explode. Because maybe it's just not the right fit for the parties. And real estate, it's a highly emotional industry and transaction process. So it's hard to separate and draw that line in the sand from business in your relationship to the personal relationship. So it's like Stephanie and I, we have to make conscientious efforts to, draw the line in the sand like, hey, babe, let's not talk about work today. It's hard. I'm sure for you guys too. It's like inevitably everything loops back around to talk about
business.
work. At dinner, at this, at that, in the morning for coffee.
Because you'll think of an idea or something come to mind.
The wonderful thing with Stephanie is that, I mean, she's wired like I am. She's competitive as hell. She does what she says she's going to do. I mean, her client level experience is beyond top tier. I mean, she was way successful before she and I were ever even a couple. So, it made the transition for us when we did become romantically involved. It made all the sense in the world to just combine our business and combine our brand. And we built our brand, RoPax Group. And every year has been phenomenal. I mean, with the exception of after COVID, of course, when everyone's business, went sideways a little bit.
It's true test of times.
Yeah, no kidding. Our business just continued to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And it's awesome getting to work with your spouse or your significant other and your best friend because they have your back.
Yeah.
And
even when shit's hitting the fan, even if you don't agree, if something happens, they'll still step up to the plate.
Yep, they'll step up to the plate. So it's like I always know that, and she knows that with me too. It's like we have each other's back, and who better to have your back than your person?
Yes, exactly. And at the same time, they know the business. So I think sometimes it's difficult for people to understand if one partner is an entrepreneur and the other one isn't.
Yeah.
And they don't understand maybe kind of, especially with real estate, how
sacrifices.
Yeah. Hashtag sacrifices.
Hashtag sacrifices.
So y'all also have a family, 4 dogs. Tell us a little about that. And how do you manage a work-life balance?
Oh, I don't think that there's a balance in work life. I mean, yes, that's a term that gets used around, work-life balance. Yeah. Bullshit. I don't think there's any balance. When you're self-employed, you're hunting, you're farming, you're making deals happen, you're saving deals, you're trying to figure out the next deal. There's no balance in any of that. I've owned several different companies. I've owned a porta potty company. I've owned a garbage company. I've owned, of course, my real estate business as well. There's never been a balance in my life ever. The balance that you can implement has to be on you.
Yeah.
And it's always going to be very short-lived. And, we're not 9 to 5. We don't get to shut off at the end of the day and not worry about work or anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, There's times it's weekends you're getting phone calls, you're on vacation getting phone calls, you're putting out fires, you're trying to save deals.
Yeah.
That's 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Always. I'm sorry. There's just no balance in this. So I'd be lying if I said we have a balance. We don't.
Yeah. Or crap still hits the fan on the weekends. Even sometimes more so on the weekends.
I'll never forget. We were on a trip to Mexico. Poor Stephanie worked the entire time.
Wow.
On 3 transactions, putting them together, negotiating, leaving the beach, hanging out in the hotel room, on her computer, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Put all 3 of them under contract. We're coming back like, I don't know, the 5th or 6th day of coming on, being on our vacation. On the tarmac, all 3 of the transactions terminated.
Worse.
Killed our entire week. I wasn't mad at her though.
Yeah,
it's the reality of what we do.
Yeah, but
and people don't see that side of real estate. It's so easy.
You just
Realtors
open
don't
houses.
do shit. You just open houses. Whatever. It's the furthest thing from the truth.
Yeah.
I've given up on like fighting with people online about that. I'm just like, whatever. Think that we don't do anything because I've got 20 people that are hiring me this week that totally love everything I can do for them. So, yeah.
Well, I think a lot of those people who talk that big talk are either they've had a bad experience with realtors or they live in
their mother's basement still
yeah,
and don't even own a house.
They've never experienced having to use a realtor.
Exactly. They've rented a house or something.
But there's also a lot
hold
of
on.
agents
Gabriel's
that
speaking.
give
I don't know
us-
if he can hear him.
Yeah, there's a lot of agents that give us a bad
Hold on.
There are a lot of
Yes.
agents that give us a bad name.
Yeah.
He's right. Yeah.
Well, and also when you think about it, it's easy to it's pretty easy, honestly, to be honest, to get into the industry.
Of course.
The classes, especially if you go to Champions Real Estate School. Hey, how's it going?
I love Champions.
I love them too.
yeah,
So they make it easy. It's a fun, exciting learning experience,
Right.
and you then you're taking the exam and you kind of think you've got it all figured out, and then you go to like your first open house, or you do it with your first client. They ask you questions. You're like, I don't know crap.
I always hate it when I get that group on email. Become a realtor for $179, and I'm like, oh my god.
There's a Groupon for that.
Oh gosh, yeah. I haven't seen it lately. I don't pay attention to it anymore. But it would literally chap my ass every time I saw it. I'm like,
I had no idea. Okay, so let's kind of go into Dream Garage Condos. Tell us a little bit about it, because I know from what you've told me, it sounds like this really cool new idea. Did you get this idea from because you saw it in maybe another bigger city that's more involved with cars?
It's not a new concept, and it's not
Okay.
even a new concept for San Antonio to a degree.
Okay.
There's been, and I'm just the broker on it. I have no ownership or anything like that. There, right before COVID, there was one condo complex that popped up, Texas Garage Condos, and they sold out. Like during COVID, they sold out, and I think it was like just the right time to introduce this type of product and concept to the market.
Makes sense.
Because people were stuck at home.
People need a hobby.
They needed a hobby. They needed an office outside of working from home or something like that. So people scooped them up. And the car scene in San Antonio back in the day, if I saw a Ferrari 30 years ago pulling out of the Dominion, might have been the only Ferrari I saw for a month or 2 months. Now Bentley, they're opening up a Bentley dealership. I just saw that yesterday. Doug Cox, the general manager of Lamborghini San Antonio, just unveiled that they're opening up a Bentley dealership. We have the largest Lamborghini dealership in North America here in San Antonio. We have a Ferrari dealership. Like the landscape for our city has changed dramatically.
It has.
So much in just the last 5 years. This is not the same city that it was.
No, it's not.
20 years ago, 10 years ago,
Yep.
It's not even the same city. So
100%.
I moved away to Houston. I've been back to San Antonio, I guess about 12-ish years. When I was living in Houston, I went over there to do a startup. And, I had my Ferrari and the car scene over there was insane.
Yeah.
I mean, just bananas. I still have tons of friends in the Houston market in the car scene. When I moved back to San Antonio, all of a sudden I started seeing, I was like, wait a second, there's a different scene going on here that I've not seen before. This market is just bananas.
Yeah.
So to see something like this evolve, and when the opportunity presented itself for me to meet with this developer, of course I was going to show up in my exotic.
Yeah.
And I pulled up. They were in their pickup truck, and we were meeting a buddy of mine at his car condo project in town to kind of have a meeting space. And he looks out of his truck. I had not met these people. I look up and I said, "Are you Austin?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then he looked at my car, and he turned to his, when I learned it was his father, he turned over to his dad. And he's like, "Well, I guess we found our broker."
Yeah.
Because I'm a car guy. Like,
Yeah.
I run in those circles. I live and breathe cars. It's just been a thing that I've had for years. So
Yeah.
it's not work for me when I'm promoting this project,
absolutely.
because it's literally my passion.
Yeah.
And I love real estate. So it's a combination of automobiles and
real
cars.
estate,
Yeah.
yeah.
And real estate. The difference with ours is we're basically creating like a car country club, if you will. And it's going to be located in Stone Oak, which is, there's not one in existence there. There's a couple in existence off the I-10 corridor.
Yeah.
And so now this is a new project in a new area in which people definitely need them.
Absolutely. I was just going to say that.
We sold 15 units last month alone.
Nice.
So that means the demand is there.
It is,
Yeah.
definitely. And so you, earlier before we went live, you were talking about the certain amenities. So what if, let's say, a car enthusiast is interested, what do y'all provide as far as amenities? What are the condos going to look like? What are they going to provide? Kind of give us a visual scope of it.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So what differentiates ours from other projects is I think we learned, I don't want to call it mistakes that other developers made, because they're never a mistake, but it's just like, hey, how could we improve on this?
Right.
And so with everything, it's an evolution.
Yeah.
And these developers came to me and said, hey, these are the ideas that we're thinking of implementing. I was like, thumbs up. I love that. Something that sets ours apart. We have a pickleball court. We have a dog park, which, you have doggies. I have 4 doggies. So it's like, that's cool. You get to take your dogs to work. We have some walking trails. We have a kids playground set. We have almost 3,000 square foot clubhouse. So it's going to be the largest clubhouse in any car condo project in this area.
So you could do like car meets there.
Oh, totally.
Love it.
It's going to have the indoor kitchen, outdoor kitchen inside the clubhouse. It's going to have a conference room. So people not only buy these like to keep their toys, but you can create a mezzanine. And if you wanted to work from there, we're allowing people to actually run their businesses out of there. We just don't want retail. So if someone has like a small mom and shop type business, like maybe a small accounting firm or architecture firm or something like that, giddy up. You can buy one of these, write it off, keep your toys in there as well, but then also have a space to do business. And if you don't have enough room that day for a meeting, use the conference room there in the clubhouse space.
That's really cool.
Yeah, no, it's going to be really, really cool. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Amazing. And as far as the Dream Garage Condos, do they have plans of expanding, or are y'all trying to see like, hey, let's see how this one develops, how it works? Not saying it's not going to be successful. I'm sure it will be, but do they have bigger ideas? You know how like there's phases or there's steps?
Yeah, and it would basically be in other cities at that point. And I'm hoping, like, I love the brand that they have created. It's this. I think the logo's super cool.
Hey.
And yeah, hey. I know that my developer met with an agent friend of mine in Naples, Florida, to talk about a project over there. So what I'm helping do is help create that brand, and then hopefully that brand could catapult to other markets as well. So, but for now it'll be just San Antonio.
Right. So my question to you is, why choose the Stone Oak area and why not some place like downtown?
Well, the demographic of Stone Oak and the income. You want to find where people have the income to be able to afford something like this, and then also probably don't have the space for all of their toys. Because some people, maybe it's not even exotics. It could be classics. It could be motorcycles. It could be, heck, if your kid races go-karts and you need a shop and all that other stuff, you could do something like that there. But in the downtown area, it's just financially not the same demographic that you can find up on the north side. Therefore, that kind of creates the market.
Absolutely. Makes sense. And I know that downtown San Antonio is like going through its own gentrification.
Totally.
So even as the gentrification and all of that, just the updating expands, maybe there'll be some more room for it. So I really like how this idea can truly inspire a bunch of these other types of condos to, grow in and around San Antonio. I think it's a really cool concept. I personally haven't heard of it. I grew up around more motorcycles and muscle cars. But it's a really cool idea, and I like to see that people are implementing it, honestly.
The cool thing about it though is the community that each one of these locations creates, the community within itself.
Right.
So I'm lucky enough to be able to be part of one of the communities, even though I don't own a unit at that community. But these guys are always on WhatsApp. They're always, they're sharing jokes. They're sharing ideas. They're talking about drives. They're talking about events or anything like that.
Well,
it's super cool.
It is really cool. And I think there's that term, the loneliness pandemic, where a lot of people, we don't truly know our neighbors, or we don't go out, or we're just like very cocooned, just like work and family or home or going out with your family and then staying here. So the fact that there's already a community being built around it, and there's people to look at, to confide in or to go to, or people that you can relate to.
Right.
That's
there
huge.
you go. It's people that you can relate to. It's that commonality. So it's like, once you have that something common with that person, it makes the breaking of the barrier to get to know that person less. And so it's cool. They're like, hey, you like cars, great. We have something in common. Now let's see where that evolves from. So
what phase is it in? Are y'all have some?
We're in the pre-selling stage. So right now we're taking reservations of this week alone. I should probably have about 5 more under contract.
Nice.
We have a total of 65 units.
Wow.
So we're definitely pre-selling quite a bit of them. The demand is clearly there for them. We're going to be breaking ground July, August, right around there.
Okay.
And it's going to be roughly a 1-year build out. So end of summer next year.
Nice.
Perfect. If everything goes great, no massive weather changes or anything like that. We'll be starting to close out units at that time for people to then start customizing their units. So
I was just about to ask. So are these going to be, what kind of condos are they going to be? Are they going to be 3 floors?
Think of it as a giant garage space. Okay. Just like, your garage, it's a space.
Yes.
And it's a blank canvas. The difference with ours is it's a more elevated space than your typical garage. So what sets ours apart from any other project in San Antonio, we've got windows at the front, we have windows in the back. So if you build the optional mezzanine and you happen to spend more time on average there than most people, you get to see outside, you get to see if it's raining, you get to see if it's sunny, you get to see the birds flying.
Yes.
We're going to have a polished concrete floor, but then you can customize it. Like a friend of mine, Guillermo, owns a top epoxy, and they go in there and they do those crazy marble-like look floors and stuff. It's like insane. And then you can customize lighting. You do all these things. You can put cabinets in there. You can put living room spaces. You can put your bathroom. You can put showers. Like ours are going to be turnkey, ready for everything, pre-plumbed. All the electrical will be dropped.
Cool.
They'll basically be completed. You can start using it, but if you wanted to elevate the space, then it's going to be on each person to personalize it.
Okay, I love the personalization factor to it. Now, if someone's watching this and they're interested and they're like, okay, well, what is the entry to get in? Like, how much are these? Are you able to say that?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So our pricing starts at $315,000. We have 5 different size models.
Okay.
And the only 2 options that my developer is allowing someone to do with them is the mezzanine option, which adds another $49,000, or what we have is the kind of bathroom cabinet package. So it's like bathroom sink, cabinetry, blah, blah, blah. That's $22,000. After that, it's a blank canvas for each person to either do the contracting on their own or hire a contractor. We've aligned ourselves with a couple of people that specialize in this space, and they'll sit down with a client and be like, hey, you're into Ferraris. Great. You want a Ferrari theme. This is what we can do. And they'll literally come up with everything and do the little virtual
very cool.
tours for design, so you can walk through it virtually and see what your space is going to look like before it's ever done.
That is freaking amazing.
It's going to be cool.
I love that. Technology.
Yeah, I know.
So you've been in real estate for 34 years. The way you're talking about Dream Garage Condos, is this your proudest achievement yet, or do you have something else that you're proud of?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. I will say that it's my most fun project right now. Most recently, we were selected to list a Stadler home, Lifestyle by Stadler home, a beautiful $3.5 million house over in the Dominion. So Stephanie and I also, we sell a lot of houses. And we're great at selling houses. We're phenomenal listing agents. That's where the bulk of our energy and effort goes, is into listings, and we sell a lot of luxury homes. This is just something different, and it created a new challenge for me because I'd never done a project like this before. And the cool thing about it, though, is I get to interact with people that were not in my social circle, but we have that same love of passion of automobiles or watches and stuff like that. And it's
just
cool
happens
to be
more naturally.
Yeah, it's just like it's a fun thing. So I would like to say that it's kind of like my crowning achievement, but I'm not going anywhere in this industry. So that just means something bigger and better is going to be down the pipeline. So
yeah, absolutely. Now, as far as your business goes, right? So just from a personal aspect, are you also, I guess my first question should be, are you kind of delving a little bit into commercial real estate with this project? Or are you kind of just trying to say residential broker type of?
No, I really don't want to get into the commercial space.
Okay.
That's a completely different animal. Technically, this is commercial. It's considered commercial real estate. It's commercial loans, blah, blah, blah. I didn't see any barriers because all I saw was cars. This will be fun.
Just do it.
Let's just do this. I'll figure it out as we go. No, I mean, I
love that.
I love residential real estate. I love the fact that we get to help people. You know, most recently, we've had some transactions that were emotionally challenging for the sellers. And we were there to guide them through that process, despite what craziness was going on in their personal lives. You know, they hired us, and it's like, that's where I love that side of the business, because it's like, I have to be tuned into them and their needs and be respectful and empathetic for what they're going through, because as you all know, it's like residential real estate is a highly emotional. Commercial's not.
Yeah,
Commercial's about numbers.
It's cutthroat.
It's cutthroat. It's either it makes sense, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I like to help people. That's why I'm super transparent about my past struggles with alcohol and being sober for over 8 years now. It's like, I have a platform, and I like to talk about things like that, because at this point in my life, it's like, I feel my gift from God is not sales and achievements and awards and all that other bullshit. My gift is share my story so I can hopefully help someone.
Yeah,
that's it.
and inspire others. Absolutely.
All this real estate that we do, and all financially, it's great. It's fun. It's amazing. I want to help people. At the end of the day, honestly, that's all I care about these days.
Absolutely.
I've been in this game too damn long. I don't care about the awards. I don't even submit half the shit that we do for award recognition anymore, because we've already won all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't need another plaque on the wall.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yes.
I want someone years from now, even when I'm dead, remember, thank God he took time out of his day for that post, or he took time out of his day to help me for something. And that's what I remember Robert Elder for. No one's going to remember me for, $800 million or $1 billion in sales. I don't give a shit about that.
Yeah, because a bunch of other agents do that as well.
I don't care about it. I really don't anymore.
Do you see yourself, like Dream Garage Condos, right, or that Texas Garage Condos you were speaking about earlier? Do you see yourself creating your own condo space, like kind of developing your own?
Yeah,
idea?
Steph and I have talked about stuff like that. I mean, maybe at some time in the future, that might be a project that we would like to tackle, whether it's that or building. I mean, Stephanie flipped her first house a couple of years ago. Oddly enough, I had the buyer for it, so I got to negotiate against her. She's a hard negotiator. But she did great. I mean, like, she knocked it out of the freaking park, and I think she has a real good gift for that, the style, the this, that, the other. So oftentimes we've talked about, hey, let's do another one, or let's do this, or what would it look like if we built? But we're so busy doing what we do that it would kind of be going backwards for us right now. So we're not at that place in our lives where we can say, ooh, let's tackle this, because we're still so busy over here.
Absolutely. So hopefully everything goes smooth with Dream Garage Condos.
Hopefully it is. It's gonna we're killing it.
Yeah, no, you're killing it. But we all know real estate. You don't know when something's gonna happen, but something will always happen. Yeah. Without naming names, because I'd love to hear give me the tea, right? What is your craziest transaction yet? Like
Oh,
where you're just
gosh.
like, whoa, that's gonna stick with me forever.
I have so many of them. It's not even funny. There's one story that I like to tell.
Okay.
And I'll name names because I just think it's funny. But when I worked, at the Dominion, of course you'd see celebrities. You'd meet of top tier business people and everything else. But we all know certain celebrities over the years have lived in the Dominion.
Yes.
And there was one in particular that I was helping at that time, and he was going through a divorce, and it was Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I, he's a big dude.
Dog.
He's a big dude, and he's a big dude back then.
Yeah.
Very intimidating.
I bet.
And I wasn't married at the time. I was a youngin. I mean, I think I was 20 or 21.
Yeah.
And, maybe 22. I didn't get married until I was 27 to the boy's mom, and so I was having to help him with some real estate needs, and then help the soon-to-be ex-wife with real estate needs as well. And I found her a rental there in the Cottage Estates, and there was one day that she called and she's like, I'm having this issue with the house, and it was my clients who owned it, and they were from Mexico, and so I had to do a lot of translations and stuff like that for them. And so I walk in and she invites me into the house, and then she's like, oh, I'll be right back, and then she comes back in a very seductive looking outfit. And I was just like, oh, hell no. Because I remembered how big this man was.
Wow.
And I could just imagine him breaking me like a little pretzel. So that's one moment that, but I have hundreds of them, to be honest with you. But that was one that I find humor in it, to be honest with you. So
nice.
Yeah,
no, I love it. Also, another one of your interests besides like real estate, you post a lot of watches on your Facebook page.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So it's funny. My grandfather gifted me a Rolex when I was like, I don't know, 14 or 15 years old. I think he did it while he was drunk, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Still matters. It still counts.
It still counts. And so that definitely started my love of watches. And I've been a collector off and on for my entire adult life. And so there was a time in which I found, it's called a gray market dealer. So it's like a secondary dealer. And I was buying a bunch of stuff from him here in town. And I'm the type of person that if you have a business that one of my clients can benefit from, I want to try and bless you.
Oh, yeah,
I don't
connect.
expect anything. I'm
Same.
like, take care of my client. Here you go. Here's a deal.
Samesies.
I'm that type of person that likes to pay things forward. Call it whatever. It's just how I like to operate.
Same. Yeah.
And I'd sent this guy like a ton of leads, and there was a time where he stopped returning phone calls and not call the leads and blah, blah, blah. So I got this one phone call from this guy, and he's like, I need this watch for my wife. It's her birthday next week. And I was like, oh, crap. Well, let me see how I can help you.
Yeah.
And I ended up kind of figuring out a couple of resources where this gentleman was probably buying watches. And that's literally what started my side hustle, if you want to call it that, which it is. I mean, it was almost $2 million in watch sales last year alone. That's a big deal. And I started buying from this. I didn't know he was a kid. I'll say he was a kid because I know that now. But I started buying watches from this one gentleman out of New York. Did probably $400,000 in sales with him up until the time that Stephanie and I went to New York for an event. We went for that Ryan Serhant event where we had dinner with Ryan Serhant and his wife and a few select other people. Like, we spent $20,000 to go do this and learn from the Serhant group.
Yes.
We were in a $250 million listing overlooking Central Park, blah, blah, blah. It was amazing. And that's another story. But while we were in New York, I told Stephanie, I need to go meet this guy, Adi, that I've been buying all these watches from. And so she's like, great. So we went to the Diamond District, walk into this office. He's a 19-year-old kid. He was a baby, a freaking baby. But his business started because of COVID, because New York shut down. And his dad is a big jeweler. And he's like, hey, well, this, I know how to do this. Let me do this.
Yeah.
And somehow we just connected, and, we started buying and selling watches to each other. And it was so funny because as we're interacting, Stephanie's like interrupted us, and she's like, wait a second. You guys just met? I'm like, honey, I've never once seen him. And I've never heard his voice, but that's how the watch world works. It's this crazy world in which when you say you're going to do something, you do it.
Follow up.
Yes. I mean, there is such a level of honor in this industry. If the rest of the world acted like these people, we'd have a pretty badass world. I'll say, because I mean, I'm wiring $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 to people that sometimes I've never ever met. And now, because I've been doing this so long,
Yeah.
they become friends, and I deal with kind of the same people over and over again. It's a wild industry, and the reason why I got into it more than anything else was because it put me around people that were not in my circle.
Yeah.
And so now those people become friends. So guess what? Now I get to market to them. Now they get to see what I do. Now I get to see what they do as well. And it's grown my business massively because of that.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, I guess, because there's, Gabriel will put it as hunters and skinners. You put hunter and gardener. That's what she said, right? Or,
Yep.
you know, and there's some people that just like to
Farmer.
hunt
Yeah,
or
yeah.
social. They're like, let's go out and get it. And then there's people who are back. I think that a lot of, I guess I could say that as a new agent coming into this business, how would you give them, what advice would you give them as far as lead generation go? Because there's so many different types of personalities that enter real estate. So would you, or let's take it out of real estate. Let's just say entrepreneurship in general, any sort of business. Because I think there's, it can apply to a broad market of businesses, a broad category of businesses. What, as a hunter, would be like your advice, or what would be like, that's the thing to do to start a business?
I think the biggest challenge with any industry, because whether it's real estate, selling watches, selling these water bottles, or selling cars, so many people think, I'm going to get into this business and business is going to come to them. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. I got a sphere of influence. Yes. Your sphere of influence is going to be this big. And the reality is, family, you're going to do business with friends before you're going to do business with family. That's just a reality.
Yeah.
Because sometimes family doesn't want you to know their business.
Yes.
Or they remember you as the little squinkle, that was at the kids' birthday parties or something like that.
Can't
Now
take it
it's like, I'm
seriously.
not going to buy a house through this person until they prove themselves.
Exactly.
And my dear friend and brother, Craig Owen, it's like he has this thing, it's called being a secret agent. Some when I'm now speaking real estate, they get their license and then that's it. They don't do anything. They're that secret agent that nobody knows about. It's like, no way, you got to shout it from the rooftops.
Right.
But that's with any business, whether you're selling insurance, you got to shout it from the rooftops.
Open up a restaurant.
Yes. I see so many restaurants that open up around us there in that Stone Oak area. They don't do jack shit for marketing. And I'm like, do you think just because you opened your door, people are going to start coming to you? Hell no.
No. I agree.
You got to get out there and get in front of people. One of my best clients, who has now become a dear friend of mine, I met at a coffee shop. We were sitting here just like you and I are. I had my laptop out, and I always seem to figure out how to talk real estate wherever the situation is, but that's because I've been trained to do that. We started interacting, and I was like, yeah, well, I do real estate. And he's like, oh gosh, you know what? I got like 10 or 12 rental homes. They were very entry-level rental homes too. I mean, not luxury by any stretch of the imagination. And he wasn't even asking me anything other than, what do you think they're worth? I need to fight my taxes. So in doing so, I did something that I knew I was not going to make any money off of to help someone else. But now fast forward 5 years that I've known this individual, I think we've done like 17 transactions together.
Nice.
So the average person thinks, if there's nothing in it for me, why am I going to help you? You can't think that way.
You can't go into this business being transactional. You have to go value-based.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
I think that's what they really should teach us in real estate school.
Yes.
But
I'm
they
sorry,
just,
but real
they
estate,
just want their money.
Real estate, nothing against Champion School of Real Estate or any other school.
Yes.
They don't teach you the business.
They don't.
They teach you how to not get sued. They teach you how to fill out contracts. They don't teach you the business.
They teach you special provisions to not write anything in it, and then they teach you how many feet are in an acre, or something like that. That's all I walked away with.
Yeah, exactly. But to expand on your one comment of between hunters and farmers. Hunters, what I mean by that is they're going out there and they're finding the business. Killing the meat.
Yes.
Yeah, killing the animal for the meat. They're finding the business. The farmer goes out and plants the seed, which then germinates and turns into an actual plant, and then they can pick the fruit.
Yeah.
Well, the challenge with that though is you need to have money to do that, which means you're going to be marketing. You're going to be doing flyers, mailers, social media
Cold
marketing,
calling,
all of that stuff.
geofarming,
Exactly, geofarming, all that crazy ass stuff. When you're hunting, you could do it through open houses. You could do it through going to your church, networking, all that. That's free.
Yeah.
This other stuff is not. So you need to get
You either pay
really
with money or you pay with time.
Exactly. Yep. That's my
Got
point.
it. So when we first started this business, we were also incredibly, and we're still incredibly like, oh, you know, Ryan Sirhan or Sirhan.
I love Ryan. Yeah.
So how was that experience?
It was awesome. So
Because he's high energy.
Beyond high energy.
Yeah.
It's really weird. So he's like my real estate crush. Like, you know, I love his energy. I love his brand. I love how he presents himself. I love everything that he does.
Yeah.
And
He's from Texas as well.
Yeah,
Yes,
no kidding. Yeah, he's from Texas. It's wild. He's got a great story. I've read his books and whatnot. It was wild. We were so lucky that I got to sit right next to him at this event. There was about 20 of us. And I guess lottery luck, you know.
Yeah.
And his wife was right
picked the right
across.
seat,
And so Stephanie was there, and his wife is just an amazing person, very engaging and just fun to talk to. Ryan is very much an actor, just like he says in his books.
Yes.
And it's really weird. It kind of reminds me of like Ricky Bobby, like, what do I do with my hands?
Oh, yeah.
Because when he wasn't on, he was a tad bit awkward and a little hard to talk to and engage with. But the moment he's on, it's that 3, 2, 1, go, boom. It's like he was on.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh my God, it's like just this energy, this ball of energy.
It's like I heard like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Yes, like he's very much like when he's in politician mode, he's a machine. Do. And then when he's off, he's just kind of a little, I don't want to use that word, but dainty or just like totally like 180 different kind of person.
Right.
So I find that very interesting.
Yeah, no, I mean, but Ryan talks about that in his books as well. And I mean, one of the things that he talks about in his books is going to improv classes. So Stephanie and I did it, and we actually learned a lot, and we could see how that could help you in sales.
Think on your feet.
You're on your feet. You got to think on your feet. You got to think quick. You got to pivot. You got to do this. You got to do that. And so it gives you some skills. What a lot of agents don't understand is how much you need to reinvest in yourself through knowledge, through classes, through learning, through hiring a coach. I mean, Stephanie is coached every single day.
Yeah.
You know, and she has spent probably a couple $100,000 in coaching over her career.
Yeah.
I'm sure that I've spent at least that much on going to events and networking and learning. And, you know, like a lot of my business comes from outside agents referring business to me too.
Yeah.
The vast majority of my business is referrals.
Yeah.
At this point in my career. Like I hunt. I don't have to hunt as much as I used to. I just hunt a different way.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
You've just adjusted it.
Yeah.
You don't have to. Yeah, and that makes sense. After being that long in the business, you kind of have made those connections, so it's easier to. And you've also kind of picked up that muscle. It's kind of like muscle memory.
Yeah.
But I totally do understand being on, like yesterday I was at an event and when I'm hungry, I'm hangry. You can sense it.
Yeah.
And so I thought they were going to have at least snacks. So I'm at this networking event. And when I'm at a networking event, I'm like, Who do I need to talk to? Business card. Hey. You know, but it takes a lot of energy.
It does.
From people like you and me. And then I was sitting at a table and I was messaging him and I was sending him a voice memo. I'm like, I want to leave. I'm hungry. And they had this like speed dating or speed networking. And I was
That's
like,
cool.
In my head, I'm like, how am I going to get through this? Because I'm literally just like hungry.
Right.
And then so I was interesting because the moment that I sat in the chair and someone sat in front of me, it was like,
You're on.
hi.
Yeah.
Didn't think about it. Nothing.
Yeah.
And it was just networking, having a good time, making those connections.
Yeah.
But once I was done, I was like,
Let me ask you this.
Oh God, here we go. Someone's asking me a question.
How did you feel at the end of that event? Were you physically, emotionally drained? I mean,
the hunger made me more physically drained, not emotionally, but mentally.
Yeah.
I find that I'm really good at networking. I love it so much. I love talking to people on the phone. Conversation. But at the end of the day, I'm depleted.
Yeah.
It's just so funny because I'm like, wow, that really filled my social battery. I feel really good, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, holy crap, I can't talk about anything else.
That goes back to what people think of agents. It's exhausting when you're on with buyer clients or you're at a networking event. It's like you're there for a purpose. You're working, and when I get home and when Stephanie gets home from a long day of
Yeah.
showing houses, we're depleted. We're
Yep.
so depleted. Like it's just
Yeah. Couch potatoes.
yeah.
I can't even.
I'll smoke a cigar. She'll have a glass of wine. We
Mm-hmm.
sit outside and pet the dogs and talk to our dogs. We're those people that talk to our dogs. All of our dogs have personalities.
Yeah, they do.
But it's fun.
They're like
But it's
little
like,
kids.
yeah, we're physically tired. Yeah.
So how do you, some advice, how do you, for any entrepreneur out there, like you still have to like wake up in the morning and it's start again.
It's go time.
Restarting the wheel. How do you stay in that go time without burning out? And do you burn out? Or when was your last burnout?
No, we do. I burned out. I exited the business. That's why I actually started my other companies years ago. It was weird. I was tired of being looked down upon as an agent, which that hasn't changed. Everyone, I don't want to say everyone, that's not the right word to use. Many people, they dislike what agents do. They dislike what we get paid. They think we don't do anything. It's the easiest job in the world. It's funny. I've never once commented on anyone's job to ever say, oh, that's an easy job. I don't know. I don't know your job. I don't know how to do your job. I don't know if it's hard, easy, simple, whatever. That's your job. I respect it. Go at it.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, it's like realtors have this like target on their back of let's make fun of realtors on social media, whatever. I've already given up on that now. And I respect what I do and I respect what other agents do, regardless of how much it is you sell. I respect what you do.
Yeah.
But go back to when I wanted to exit the business. I was tired of being looked at like a used car salesman, disrespected, this, that, the other. So like, I'm going to go start other companies, which I did. You know, I went out and started enormous companies, but it didn't fulfill me. I'll be honest with you. It didn't fulfill me. Like I love what I do. I love real estate. I love helping people. And so when I got back into the industry, I got back in it with a renewed sense of excitement because I respected myself. I think that's kind of the best way to say it. And what other people thought of realtors or me, it's not my business. I know how I am and how I operate and what I do for people and how hard I fight for people. Whether someone realizes it or not, it's not my business.
Yeah. And you'll also attract the right clientele.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, I think as an entrepreneur, you just want any business. You'll just take anything because you just have to get your feet wet and get started.
Sure.
But then you realize, like later on in your career, oh, maybe I need to actually interview these people or talk to these people because they... If they're difficult to begin with, they're going to be a difficult transaction, and you may need that check. But do you need that stress?
Do you need that check?
They're going to lead you to a burnout, which will make you even less successful in the next 3 transactions. Versus if you just cut them off, you would have just been in a better place for those next 3.
At this point now, just like they're interviewing us, we're interviewing them.
Oh, absolutely.
We want to know are we going to be a fit or not.
So when you entered real estate, was that the case, or was it just?
Oh God, no! It was. I would take anything and everything.
Right.
But over the years, I've learned, and I've also over the years, I've learned what to say no to and what to say yes to.
Yeah.
And I think having done so many, I mean, like well over 2,000 transactions in my career, I know what's going to happen before the client knows. It's a game of chess.
Yeah.
If this happens, this is going to be the result. It's cause and effect. Very simple. Cause and effect. Because of how many transactions we've done, we know what the effect is going to be because of the cause.
Pretty much, right.
And so it's like, yeah, you're not going to be a good fit, and it's going to take us away. It's going to frustrate us. We're not going to see the wonderful opportunities that we have in front of us with other people because we're so focused on trying to keep you happy. Forget it.
Absolutely.
We have people over here that are ready to hire us, so we don't need you. Respectfully, we don't need you.
Absolutely. So what are the 3 biggest lessons that you've learned from your career or just in general in life?
Who you keep in your circle is huge. They go back to that, show me your 5 friends, I'll show you, what is it?
Your future or something.
Yeah. It's like who you surround yourself with is going to be the direction in which your life is going to go. 1,000%. And I never want to be the biggest thinker in the room. I never want to be the most successful person in the room.
Yep.
I want to be down here
Like
around
the bottom of the totem pole. Yeah.
and around others because I get inspired by successful people and what they've done. And I get to learn from those people as well. And I always want to come from a place of value. The other day, I had lunch with a gentleman who runs a very successful company here in town, is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And he took time out of his day to meet with me because I had some questions. I was shocked he even said yes to it, and two, I was so unbelievably grateful. At the end of our meeting, I'm like, how can I help you? What can I do for you? Please, you've taken time out of your day for me. Please share with me anything. And I left it at that. Anything I can ever help you with, please let me know. And sure enough, he called me a few days later. He's like, hey, this proposition came across my desk. Is it something that I should look at? And I looked at the numbers. I was like, no, it's not a good deal. He's like, well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's like, I want to be that source of value and contribution for people just as much as he was for me. That's one of my biggest takeaways and lessons. Two, and what I've learned in my journey of sobriety is be of service. Be of service for others. And I loved where I finally recognized the ego that I had, which was quite large at one time in my life, and to really humble yourself and be of service to others. And so that's why it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, I don't care about the awards, the recognition, the plaques on the wall and all that other stuff. Yeah. I want to see how I can be of service for someone.
Absolutely. Yeah. Do you have one more?
That was only two that were jumping out at me.
Don't pull it out of me. So it's really interesting. I like how you do talk about your sobriety and your alcohol addiction. I personally myself struggle with something. I'm not at the place yet where I want to divulge my addiction and what that addiction was. But kind of where I'm at today, it's like, oh, wow, like in a much different place, much different woman, and just see things in a different light.
Right.
How was that for you? I guess if that's a not too personal of a question, is kind of what was your lowest point? Because I feel like a lot of people have that, and they are stuck in their own addiction or stuck with alcohol addiction. But I think some people are like, well, how do I know what is my lowest point? How do I know? So what was yours, and how did you build yourself up out of that?
That's a great question. And everyone's low point is going to be different. Some people's low point is they were living under a bridge. Some people's low point were they got arrested and they were in jail. Thankfully, I never had any of those low points. I never experienced any of those things. But for me, my low point was I was in a relationship that just was not good. It was for either party involved. I'm not going to put the blame on the other person or anything like that. But when I started acting very out of character, is when I started noticing, I was like, this is just not normal behavior. Right. And something has to change, because eventually maybe I would end up in jail. Maybe I would be arrested for something. It's like, you never know where. It's like in AA, they talk about it just hasn't happened yet. So all of those things that might have happened to other people had just not happened to me yet. Right. And I recognize that. And thank goodness for social media, because there was in my head when I realized I needed help and I didn't know who to reach out to. I remember seeing a post of this one gentleman in his 30th year of sobriety or something. And I was like, I need to call that person. And I called him that next day. And, in full disclosure, I was bawling. I mean, I was like, I don't really know you. You don't know me. I saw your post. I need help. I need help. And I think that's where humans sometimes forget that connection that we have. It's just like, at the end of the day, we're here to help other people. We're here to try and make the place a better place, the world a better place. And so thank goodness that individual took my call and we got to interact. And that's what led me to the doors of AA, which has been life-changing. It's not really been a program for me personally about how to not drink. It's been a program how to be a better person. Nice. Really. And it rewired me. It really rewired me.
You have to. You really do.
But it's something that you do consciously every single day. It's not. My old me is very much in this DNA.
Absolutely.
I can be an asshole. I can be mean. I really can. I can be a very mean individual. Yeah. I choose not to be. Yeah. I choose not to be.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. Okay. We're going to end on not that that wasn't a high note, but I know it was very, I know it's like kind of like, oh, addiction, here we go. No, but I love how you still talk about it to this day, because it is something for you to be absolutely proud of. So if currently anybody is struggling with that, you have people to reach out to, obviously, that do want to help or provide value or education about it if they have any questions. So I told you before our podcast that it's a tradition that our guests that we have, you don't know who our next guest is, and you can ask them any sort of question. So our last guest didn't know who we were interviewing you. They had a question for you. So which one do you want to do first? Do you want to let me know the guest for the next question, or do you want to answer their question?
I'll give you my question for the next guest, and then you can answer. You can ask me the question that they.
So what is your question?
My question for the next guest is, what are you going to do to help your fellow person?
Aww. I'm gonna cry on this podcast. Oh, Gable's writing it, right, honey? So there was what are
you going to do to help your fellow person?
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so our question to you is what. Hold on, you changed the question, darling. From my end. Yeah. No, I have the question. You're good. Why do you think San Antonio is so special?
Well, that's a great question. Why do I think San Antonio is so special? San Antonio has always held a special place in my heart. When I moved away to Houston, I loved Houston. I love Houston. I
do too.
I love. There's so much with that city because it's such a multicultural melting pot.
Yeah.
And
it's
so
like
I love going there, and I honestly get like recharged when I'm there. From San Antonio, as I describe to people when they are new to our city, it's like it's the biggest small town you'll ever know.
Absolutely.
And that is also a nice thing too. I've created some amazing friendships and connections in this city. It's not a New York, it's not a Houston, it's not a Dallas,
not an LA.
Not an LA. It's definitely evolving.
Yes.
We've had such an influx of people, of transplants, that expect better dining experiences, that expect better shopping experiences, that expect, car clubs and this, that, the other. Like, there's so many things that are evolving about our city, but it still has that small town feel. Yeah. And I like that. I kind of like that. It's comforting to a degree.
It is. Yeah. Or everybody knows somebody. Or you're like, the other day I made a connection. I was at some event and I didn't realize that my dad and the owner of that restaurant had met each other like years ago. And I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, that is such a small freaking world.
Right.
Or, but in San Antonio, it's not.
Right. No,
it's just really interesting.
Yeah.
We're all connected. So
I hope that the city never kind of loses that
don't
flavor as well.
Don't Austin my San Antonio.
Yeah.
Don't California my Texas.
That too.
Don't do that, please. So I'm the same way, especially as they start to expand and revitalize the San Antonio downtown. I think that's where the heart of it is. So I'm like, don't change it too much. Please just keep it the same, please, a little bit. Okay, so you will see that I have canvases. I used to do art a while back. That's not me. That's not me though. I don't do that Van Gogh stuff. It's too intricate. But I do owe you a canvas. I do have a gift
thank you.
For every guest that comes on here, I do give them a canvas. So I do owe you one.
Okay.
I haven't had time because the whole fiesta events and everything.
I'll give us reason to go visit him at the office.
There you go.
There you go. Go say hi to Diana. We'll talk about how Diana is, by the way, when we're done. But anyway, because that's not part of the podcast. But other than that, I do owe you canvas, but I want to thank you so much. You've been a wonderful guest on our podcast. And if anybody has any questions about Dream Garage Condos, if they have a question about luxury real estate, or if they're a new agent and they want to talk to a top producing agent in San Antonio, please talk to the world. Yeah. Tell them your information. How do they get in touch with you?
Best way to contact me is always through Instagram. I live and breathe on Instagram, not on TikTok or anything like that. My Instagram handle is @Robert Elder Luxury Realtor. feel free and send me a DM. I would offer my phone, but my phone goes off constantly. I have it right over here. It's been vibrating this entire hour. I probably have like 100 messages to get back to as soon as this podcast is over. And if you're interested in Dream Garage Condos, it's at Dream Garage Condos on Instagram as well. So both of those Instagram handles I monitor, and you can find me there. I'm happy to answer any questions for you.
I'm gonna put that on the
hold on.
screen.
Gabriel
So I put
is
the
saying
Dream
something.
Garage Condos, and can you tell me
At Robert Elder Luxury Realtor.
That is my husband working behind the scenes.
Typing.
Okay, well, thank you again, Robert, and thank you so much for watching. Robert's been an absolute wonderful guest. If y'all have any questions as well for us, you can reach us at 210-504-5301. Below, you're going to see all of our social media pages, so feel free to check those out. Subscribe to our channel, follow us, like different platforms, different styles, help our algorithm, comment, subscribe, all of that jazz. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on the next one with a very fun and exciting guest. And thank you, Robert. So, woo! We did another one. See y'all later. Bye. Thank you.